based off of that. Everybody understand this? So the dream of the righteous man has a higher level of significance. And the dream of a righteous woman has a higher level of what? Significance, because of how you live. You say you are what you eat. How do you eat? That is on your skin, how much energy you have, how much fatigue you feel, your organs, your health, based off of how you eat. It doesn't just mean just eating all vegetables. It doesn't just mean just eating all organic things. How you eat, whatever that thing may be. How you eat, when you eat, how much you eat, and most importantly, the barakah that Allah gives you from your food. Bismillah. From the good halal rizq that you worked hard for, and the list goes on. Everybody understand this? Vegans who die at the age of 30, and carnivorous men and women who live to be 80, 90 years old. Is this not the case? This is a very important concept to understand. How you live depends on what? What you see in your dream, and vice versa. Khayran, inshallah. So let's move on now. Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he mentions several different narrations with regards to parts of prophethood. Sheikh Anwar. In other words, one hadith may say 46, one hadith may say 50, one hadith may say this, one hadith may say that. Numbers. What is important is for us not to get caught up on the numbers, but to get caught up on what does it mean that a dream is a type of prophecy. That a dream is a connection, has a connection to nubuwah, to a person being a prophet. In the commentary of Sahih al-Bukhari, al-Hafidh ibn Hajar says, وقال الخطابي قيل معناه إن الرؤيا تجيء على موافقة النبوة لأنها جزء باق من النبوة. The first interpretation is that dreams will come in agreement with prophecy. What the righteous man or righteous woman sees, it will be interpreted and it will be implemented, and it will come into actual physical realization of what the prophets brought and what they legislated. A dream is part of prophecy. In other words, what Allah shows you in your dream as a righteous Muslim is going to be in accordance with Islam, with the deen. Everybody understand this? This is the first view with regards to understanding this hadith. وقيل المعنى إنها جزء من علم النبوة لأن النبوة وإن انقطعت فعلمها باق. The second view is that dreams are a part and a type of the knowledge of the prophets and messengers, of their knowledge, the knowledge of prophecy and prophethood. In other words, there aren't any more prophets. We don't believe that there are prophets and messengers, but the knowledge of those prophets and messengers and their legacy and what they brought still remains. Just like Islamic knowledge. Just like what? Islamic knowledge. Someone who's learned and who teaches his people and calls his people and cultivates his people, we say, as if he's in the status of the Rasul with his ummah. Because he's passing on to his community members what the Prophet ﷺ passed on to his community members. Everybody understand this? And this is only achieved, Sheikh Anwar, through someone who is teaching his people of the Prophet's way. The way of Muhammad alayhi salatu, the knowledge of the Sunnah. Not the knowledge of this, not the knowledge of that, and kada, the knowledge of Muhammad alayhi salatu. What does your community know about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? What can they tell me about the Prophet of Islam? What did he say? What did he do? What didn't he do? That is first and foremost. As for if you teach your community members pieces of information and sound bites, and this sheikh and this scholar and this person, that's all good and that's fine and that's peachy. It's not the same as one who educates his family members and his community members of the way of Muhammad alayhi salatu, the legacy of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar rahimahullah ta'ala, he then says, وقال البطال كون الرؤيا جزء من أجزاء النبوة مما يستعظم إلى أن قال فعلى هذا المعنى لو قال وقال المازري يحتمل أن يراد بالنبوة في هذا الحديث الخبر بالغيب لا غير، وإن كان يتبع ذلك إنذار أو تبشير فالخبر بالغيب أحد ثمرات النبوة وغير مقصود لذاته، لأنه يصح أن يبعث أو يبعث النبي ليقرر الشرع ويبين الأحكام وإن لم يخبر في طول عمره بغيب ولا يكون ذلك قاطعا في نبوته ولا مبطلا للمقصود منها. والخبر بالغيب من النبي لا يكون إلا صدقا ولا يقع إلا حقا. وأما خصوص العدد فهو مما أطلع الله عليه نبيه لأنه يعلم من حقائق النبوة ما لا يعلمه غيره. قال وقد سبق بهذا الجواب جماعة لكنهم لم يكشفوا ولم يحققوه. وقال القاضي أبو بكر بن العربي أجزاء النبوة لا يعلم حقيقة إلا ما نكون أو نبي، وإنما القدر الذي أراده النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يبين أن الرؤيا جزء من أجزاء النبوة في الجملة لأن فيه اطلاعا على الغيب من وجه ما. وأما تفصيل النسبة فيختص بمعرفة درجة النبوة. وقال المازري لا يلزم العالم أن يعرف كل شيء جملة وتفصيلا، فقد جعل الله للعالم حدا يقف عنده، فمنه ما يعلم المراد به جملة وتفصيلا ومنه ما يعلمه جملة ولا تفصيلا، وهذا من هذا القبيل. He then says another interpretation of this hadith is that the Prophet ﷺ intended that when a person sees a dream and they are righteous, when a righteous Muslim sees a dream, what happens? He says what? Is that it is a piece of the unseen. And a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one who learns and receives information regarding the unseen. But the difference is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly shows a prophet and a Rasul some of the unseen to tell his people about. And when you see a dream, it's part of the unseen. The dream that is from Allah. Not the dream that's from shaitan, not the dream that's mixed up and confused, but the dream that is meaningful. And that is to be interpreted. We say, what? Allah is showing you a piece of the unseen. This is going to happen to you tomorrow. This is going to happen to you in the future. This was done to you and you didn't even realize it. Such as when a person sees a dream and he hears their dad being called. What does it mean? Someone was talking about him, etc. Everybody understands Allah is showing you partial unseen. And from the things that are specific to prophets and messengers are what? Is knowledge of the some things. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Muhammad alayhi salam and the previous prophets and messengers before them about affairs of the what? Of the ghaib. Everybody understand this? So the hadith, now let's break this down some more. How did the Prophet ﷺ receive revelation? From Jibreel. How? Did he always physically meet Jibreel?
Sometimes it was a dream.
Sometimes it was a dream. Okay, what else? Other times, there's other ways to receive revelation from Jibreel, not just in his sleep. Follow Sheikh Hamza.
Did he have like he would have like some kind of
The dream is reality as well.
He had like he would go and
Go ahead, Sheikh.
he would have some kind of shakes or something like that.
How did he get revelation? He had a convulsion. Where was the revelation? Did he see Jibreel? Was it in his mind? Was he asleep when he had the convulsion? So this is the question.
He was in seclusion. Most of the time he go, like, just like the history says, he go away and pray and
meditate.
Meditate and yeah.
How did the revelation come to him? Through meditation or through something physical? Did Jibreel come to him and speak to him?
The word, yes.
Everybody understand this? This is the question. This is an actual issue. It is not something we say, we don't know. There are hadith that tell us about this. There are hadith that explain to us how the Prophet got revelation.
It squeezed him. Yeah.
Right. So that, what does that mean? What do you benefit from that?
It was just physical.
That it was physical. Some of the revelation from the Rasul was physical encounters with Jibreel alayhi salam. Regardless whether it was in his natural state of an angel or whether he took the shape in the form of a man. But it was what? Physical state. He met him physically. He was not sleeping. Khair. What else? There's more. Many more. This is important now. We start talking about Aqidah, Sufiya, the Sufi is this, Ahlul Sunnah that. What are we going to say? Well, this is all from issues of Aqidah and Tawheed, what we believe in the unseen, and how somebody can go astray by saying something right or saying something wrong. We mentioned all of this last week's class, the importance of dream interpretation. I'll give you a clue or a hint. Sahih? The night of al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. When the Prophet ﷺ ascended to the heavens, he went on the night journey, that is al-Isra. The night journey. And al-Mi'raj is the ascension. It's two different things now. Don't mix the two. Al-Isra is when he traveled from
Medina to
Mecca to Jerusalem.
Medina, Mecca, which one?
Mecca to
Did they
Jerusalem.
make Hijrah yet?
Mecca to Jerusalem.
What did we say last week's class? We said that dream interpretation is related to what other things? We said other fields of Islamic study. Did we say this, Kashif? Khair, Ahsant. Good answer. We did say it though. It's on tape. Al-Mahim, we say Isa, we weren't just making this up. Some people thought it was just a filler. We're just wasting time at the beginning of the class. No, we said this. Is that the dream interpretations will be connected with other what? Fields of Islamic study. So when was the Hijrah? When did the Prophet leave Mecca and go to Medina? What year and why did he go? What was the determining factor to make them leave? What were some of the biggest events that happened before they migrated from Mecca to Medina? And what were some of the final surahs that were sent down before they left Mecca and went to Medina? This is crucial if you want to, really study and learn more. Everybody understand this? And from those surahs that were sent down towards the end of the Meccan period was what? Surah 17, Al-Isra, the night journey. So when he left his home in Mecca and went to Jerusalem, that is called the what? Isra. That's the Isra, night journey. Then when he ascended to the heavens, that is called the Mi'raj. That's called the what? Mi'raj, not Ma'arij. Ma'arij is different. That's a different surah. This is a different concept. Al-Mi'raj, they're not the same. Everybody clear on this? Both things were miraculous in nature.
Miraj.
A bit different. So now, did the Prophet ﷺ ascend to heaven or go on a night journey? Was he awake or was he asleep? It's the first question. You're going to have to prove that now. Was he awake or was he asleep? That's firstly. Number two, did he go on the journey mentally and physically or just mentally? Whether,
Some say he did, some say he didn't.
yeah, okay, this is all getting into the concept of how he received what? Different parts of revelation. Allah spoke to him directly. Jibreel, Kada, Isa, Ibrahim. It's all coming to cool. Everybody with me now? Right. So, which one? How many times did the Prophet make Isra Miraj? Once or twice?
Once.
That's the question.
Once.
You sure? All of the ulama say that? So if you heard somebody say that, you say it's deviant or what?
You said he made more than once?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, bring me proof.
Khayran, inshallah. Tayyib. You'll find many things. As we say, the rabbit hole is very deep. Tayyib. Everybody get the point now? Is that the Prophet received revelation in more than one way. Whether it was the direct revelation, meaning and wording, such as the Quran al-Kareem. Meaning and wording. Or whether it was something that Jibreel alayhi salam inspired him with, and he taught the companions in his own words through the Sunnah. Revelation that isn't recited.
Now I'm looking at something here.
Follow Sheikh.
The revelation will sometimes come down with the sound of a ringing bell.
Okay, where are you reading that from?
Islam's stack exchange. In what different forms would the Quran reveal itself?
Islam stack exchange. It doesn't mean that's wrong. It doesn't mean that's wrong. It doesn't mean that's wrong. Everybody understand the point we're trying to get to, Kashif? That narration may be in Sahih al-Bukhari. I'm not going to say it is or it isn't. It's more, the more you read, the more what? It broadens your scope. And then you have a better understanding of this hadith. Dreams are a part of prophecy. In other words, the Prophet ﷺ, he received revelation through dreams and through other means. Everybody clear on this? Makes sense now? So therefore, when you have a good dream, and inshallah you're a righteous person, man or woman, bidhnillah, it means a lot. But the next step is what? Is to do what? To have that dream interpreted. Everybody clear on this? Everybody clear on this? And how the Prophet ﷺ spoke with his companions. What happened? That was the interpretation of what he saw as well. Everybody understand this? Khayr, inshallah. So we will stop here with tonight's class. We read what? 4 hadith. And we explained the first hadith here. Next class, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's permission, we will continue to comment and explain the rest of those dreams. We're still only in the beginning, huh? We didn't get too deeper into the other hadith, inshallah, let alone the other concepts in the books with regards to dream interpretation. If there are any questions from the sisters or from the brothers on the topic or off the topic, now is the time, bi'idhnillah. Any questions on or off the topic from the sisters or from the brothers, the time is now, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Wa jazakumullahu khairan.
I have a question.
See if there are any questions from the sisters, inshallah.
You go first.
Question? Alright, khair. Are there any questions? Now, Fadl ya akhi. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much
Thank you.
for the session. I think it has been very informative. I think it's a good thing. This was an opportunity for me to have come and be part of this kind of rewarding gathering. So I want to say thanks very much to you
Jazakallah khair. Barakallahu
for
feek.
rightly explaining the religion to us. My question has to do with the revelation of the Quran. If my memories serve me right, I understand that Quran was not revealed at once. It was revealed piece by piece. And like you said, there are different ways that he received the revelation. I would be personally glad to know those different ways. But what I know previously is that he always revealed through Jibril, from Jibril to him. And we also know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was referred to as Ummi, someone who could not read or write. So what I would like to get clarification on is every time a piece of Quran was revealed to him, whether the people who could write was always around him, or he received the message and then later pass it on to those who wrote it.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam, ala rasulillahi, amma ba'd. Question by our brother in Islam. And before the question, he sends his thankfulness and gratitude and happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. Yani with regards to bringing us together and gathering us here tonight. And alhamdulillah, the circles of knowledge, as we've wrote many chapters on this in our book, 40 Hadith from Seeking Knowledge, are blessed circles, blessed gatherings. If we came and we only got one piece of information, it wouldn't be a waste. If we came and we only reminded each other of one thing that we already knew, it wouldn't be a waste. It wouldn't be a waste. Let alone if Allah allows us to learn more, if Allah allows us to see each other, to skin salams to each other, to smile on each other's faces, and inshallah smile with our hearts as well, and to be in Allah's house for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, in a world that is so busy, so moving back and forth and preoccupied with other than Allah, that will be a blessing in itself. So you can't lose in a circle of dhikr. Impossible to lose. As the Prophet ﷺ has informed us about those angels who go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they tell him about the slaves that they found. What are they doing? Singing your praise, asking forgiveness, asking protection, asking for paradise. Did they see the paradise? Did they see the hellfire? How would they be if they saw it? They'll be even more, They'll want it even more. More eager. How would they be if they saw the hellfire? They'll be even more fearful. And then he said, the hadith, the Prophet he tells us that Allah will tell the angels, go, for I have forgiven those people. They are forgiven for their sins. And some of the angels say, oh Allah, among that gathering is Fulan and Fulan. They only came because they needed something. He didn't really come for the class. He didn't speak to the brother after the class. Or he came to get married, or he came to do a job, or to ask for sadaqah. They really weren't participating in the circle of dhikr. Allah says, هُمُ الْقَوْمُ الَّذِينَ لَا يَشْقَى بِهِمْ جَلِيسٌ. Okay, the Prophet tells us that Allah says, there are people whose friends are never wretched. Just by sitting in the circle is a means of your sins being forgiven. Just sitting down without the proper intention. Hadith says, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. These are based on intentions. He only came to the masjid, Ustad, just to sit down and get something. That's it. I don't want to hear class, but he sat in the circle. So what do you think is the reward of sitting with the intention of learning from the circle? Participating in the circle. So this is something that we always have to constantly remind ourselves of this, huh? We have to remind ourselves of the ni'mah, of the blessing of, first and foremost, the masjid. And secondly, the hilaq, the circles and the gatherings of dhikr. Very important. As for the specific question, then we say first and foremost, yes, the Prophet ﷺ, he received revelation in intervals, pieces, over a span of approximately 23 years. In Mecca, outside of Mecca, in Medina, and outside of Medina. The Prophet ﷺ, he received the revelation from Allah in gradual, progressive stages. That's first and foremost. Secondly, the Prophet ﷺ, yes, whether he was ummi or whether it was the one who didn't write, his right hand never wrote, as Allah says, he was illiterate. He could not read and he could not write. And this is from the miracles of the Quran al-Azim. A man who had no formal education, a man whose travels and journeys were limited and well known. The furthest he went west, the furthest he went east. A man who didn't come from a background of literacy and scholastics and all these things, no. And he brought this book that if it had no other thing in it except for its, what? Exquisite literary style. The classy eloquence of the Quran. I think that was the only thing in the Quran that in itself will be an astonishing miracle. Let alone science, let alone the detailed wisdoms, let alone the spirituality, let alone the stories of the prophets and the messengers, let alone all of those other things. Just the language of the Quran. Where did this man get this from? And there are some people, Orientalists, others besides, well, Muhammad, he traveled to Syria, he learned Aramaic languages, Syriac languages, blah, blah. Even so, for argument's sake, even so, if he benefited from the Christians of Arabia, even so. For let's say, for argument's sake, he benefited from the Jews of Mecca. Even if he did, he couldn't read or write, and he still brought this book, even with the help of others. Is that not miraculous to you? Come on, man. Just use your minds, guys. Let's be fair. As a person, let's make an example, who works out in the gym, he takes steroids. Or he takes things that increase his muscle mass. Does he not still have to work hard and break his back and train and watch his diet even though he's taking steroids? Is this not the case, Sheikh? Is this still not a feat? Even though he's taking supplements, he still has to work very hard to get in that shape and look like that and to keep that shape before he even gets to the contest, before he even gets to the wrestling match, whatever he's taking steroids for. So we say if Muhammad did have help, if people did help him put the Quran together, it still is a major feat in the history of humanity. Let alone the other things. Everybody understand this is how you have an argument with a non-Muslim. You have to render him in, or I say sucker punch. You have to let him come in a little bit. Everybody understand this? He'll go off the jab. It's the same concept. It's the same concept. It's very important. So the concept of the Quran, how it was sent down in a time period, a man who couldn't read, who couldn't write, and the people who were around him, who did he have around him? Universities and colleges and centers. He had people that were similar around him, even if they couldn't read and write, they were still similar to him. How did they write it down? How did they preserve the whole thing? How was it so succinct? A child in Malaysia memorized the exact same verse as a child in Mali. How is this? They never met. Total different backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, ages, and they say the same exact surah by heart. So the concept of the Quran's nature, how it was sent down, how it was revealed, how it was preserved in itself is mu'jiz. We say is what? Is miraculous. Everybody understand this? So the Prophet, he didn't read, he didn't write, and from the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, choosing a prophet who couldn't read and couldn't write, is that he brought what he brought to show you that it was an ayah, a sign. Because if he wrote, and if you read, they would say, oh, you made it up yourself. You You wrote it yourself. You put it together yourself. So that was eliminated. That was thrown out the window, and they made up other lies. فَهِيَ تُمْلَى عَلَيْهِ بُكْرَةً وَأَصِيلًا. It says it's given to him morning and evening. Who gave it to him? In Arabia. And why? And the list goes on. So the concept of the Quran, that's first and foremost before we move any further. So Muhammad ﷺ, he received two types of revelation. The first type of revelation is that which was recited, and the second type of revelation was that which was not recited. The recitation that was recited is the Quran al-Azim. And the wahi ghayru matlu, the recitation that was not recited, it was the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And that's why there's so many stories in the Quran in which main parts are mentioned, but the specific details are left out. And if you pay attention to the Quran al-Kareem, you find certain parts of the story clearly mentioned, like the beginning and the end. But what about the middle part? Everybody understand this? Allah says, عَلِمَ اللَّهُ أَنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَخْتَانُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. Indeed, Allah knows that you used to deceive yourselves and cheat yourselves. And then it says, فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَعَفَى عَنْكُمْ. Allah has forgiven you and accepted your repentance. What did they do? What did the Sahaba do? فَلَا نَبَاشِرُهُنَّ وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ ثُمَّ أَتِمُّوا الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ وَلَا تُبَاشِرُهُنَّ وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. Allah speaks about eating and drinking. Allah speaks about going to your wives and seeking what Allah has decreed for you. What did Allah decree for you? What did Allah decree for you, Akhi? Why did Allah forgive you? Everybody pay attention. Focus, everybody focus. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say this? It's not mentioned in the Quran. That proves that there was something else that was sent down, something else that happened that Allah spoke about. And Allah mentioned the beginning and the end of the story. So the middle part is where? And that recitation that isn't recited, and that is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Because in the beginning of Islam, if a Muslim went to sleep after Maghrib and he woke back up, he couldn't eat until the next Maghrib. Nor could he have sexual intercourse. In the beginning of Islam, this was the ruling. If you broke your fast, or if nighttime came and you slept, that was it. You couldn't eat or drink until the next night. So some of the Sahaba, it was difficult for them. And they fell into doing things that they weren't allowed to do. And that's why Allah says, He is forgiving you. But that's not mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah. Everybody understand this? So the concept of revelation is of more than one type. So whenever Muhammad ﷺ received revelation, it was placed into his heart. It was preserved in his heart, which is the greatest type of memorization and preservation. In contrast to what the Western thinkers and scholars may say or feel, writing down something on a piece of paper means nothing. Someone can play with it, steal it, burn it. It can blow off in the wind. No one can ever take it from my heart. Never. They can torture me to death. And if I say I'm not going to tell you, I die with the secret. Everybody understand this? Memorization by the heart is superior. As the wise man said, he says, don't ever write things down on paper. So you're not telling him his early lessons. He says, don't write it down on paper. You write it down on paper, you can always get caught. They can catch you. When you memorize the numbers, can't do anything to you. Everybody understand this? Did he not say that? It's wisdom. They can never, what are they going to do? You can torture me, I say I'm not going to tell you, kill me. So the concept of Muhammad ﷺ's heart, and how the Quran was preserved and kept safe in his heart, that is miraculous. Everybody understand this? So this took place in the span of over 23 years. And as time went on, the Prophet ﷺ, he gathered some of the companions who could read, who could write, and he informed them to write down this surah. Write down this verse, put this verse there, put that verse there. And they called the surah, they gave the surah names, titles, and they organized it, and they put it together. And towards the end of the life of the Prophet ﷺ, his blessed life, Jibreel alayhi salam, he came to him and he taught him the Quran twice. Every single Ramadan, Jibreel would come to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, and he would teach him the Quran. And he would go over with him. He would recite it exactly as Jibreel alayhi salam would say it to him. As Allah says in the Quran, Surah Al-Qiyamah. So this is a general summarized concept about the Quran was sent down, and how it was preserved, and how it became what we have today, al-Mushaf al-Uthmani. The canon copy of the Mus'haf of Uthman. Everybody understand this? So this is how the Prophet got his revelation. He couldn't read, he couldn't write. And he kept among his company Sahaba that were called Kuttab al-Wahi. Kuttab al-Wahi, which means scribes of revelation. People that were scholars, that were learned, whether they were young or old, and they wrote down and documented what was placed into his heart and in his soul from Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. Clear, inshallah? This is what happened, this is what took place. And all these things are documented in the Quran and outside of the Quran and Kareem. About a couple years back, we did a lecture on this, rather we did a workshop. We did a full day workshop in Boonton, New Jersey, called The Preservation of the Glorious Quran. You can find it on the Hadith Disciple channel. Maybe one of the brothers can share it with him. We did a workshop on this and we expect this in detail. We expect all of this in detail. Shall I answer the question? Clear? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Any other questions before we stop? Any other questions before we stop on or off the topic?
No, I just.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm fine.
No problem. No questions from the sisters? Yes, Sheikh.
So the revelation did come like the sound of a ringing bell as well?
The question says, did the revelation come as the sound of a ringing bell? That's everybody's homework assignment. Everyone's homework assignment is to figure out and to find out how many different types and ways of revelation was there. It was coming anyway. He just said, hey, that's right. I don't want to humble you that.
Don't look at me like that.
Wallahu a'lam.